I'm back. I have my base bolted together. I have my spigot in. I have my little knob added to my lid. And we're ready for the next step. Now, one of the things that they suggest that you do is to run some water into your collection tray to make sure that your spigot doesn't leak. And I've done that. I've got water sitting in there now. Let it sit there for a few minutes, make sure that everything's going to stay good and dry. Now, speaking of water, let's talk about that issue right now. One of the things that is recommended is that you, anytime you use water for your worm bin, that you run it and let it sit in a container for 24 hours to allow it to degas, in case there's any kind of chlorine that's been added to the water or anything like that. So that's what I did. I've got a, this is what I use when my hose isn't hooked up, because I'm on an irrigation system that they turn off during the winter time and then turn back on in the spring. So this is the can that I use. I've got 2 of them. And I use this to water my bigger bins, and then in setting up this bin, I'll use it to water down my shredded newspaper and my manure. And this can of water has been sitting overnight to degas, so it's ready to go. Now, I'm going to go ahead and pour this water off. It looks like everything's going to stay good and dry, so I'll be right back. Alright, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take one of these trays, and like I said, the directions recommend that you lay down a layer of newspaper, and what that does is it helps keep your worms, your newly purchased worms, when you first get them, they're sort of a little upset about being taken from their nice cozy digs and shipped cross country, jiggled around, tossed around, and then they settle at your place, and it's going to take them a few days to settle in. So I'll talk to you a little bit about how I handle my worms when I get them in the mail, but that's why they have you put that layer of newspaper down, is to help keep the worms put, to help keep any kind of solid matter from dropping through down into the collection tray. And so basically what I do is I have a container here of shredded newspaper, and I just shred it by hand right now because my son destroyed my other one accidentally, and I just take it and I just shred it up into as skinny shreds as I can get it. I don't worry too much about it. But this is what I'm going to put on the very bottom of my tray, is shredded newspaper. And I just feel like it's going to get a little bit better airflow than putting down a solid sheet of newspaper. And air is so important in your composting system that you don't want to clog up the system with anything solid. Not to say that, you know, the solid newspaper doesn't work okay, but my own person is to use a layer of shredded newspaper, and the worms will be able to work that pretty good. Is the way that I acclimate my worms, and we'll go into that later. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my first tray, and I'm going to layer it, I'm going to fill it with shredded newspaper, and I'm going to top just like that, and then I'm going to water it down. I water it down, then there's a collapse, and it's going to become a bit thinner than it is now. And the key to turn it, as you're watering it, turn it so that you're getting all of the shredded newspaper saturated with water. The first times the water is just soft, and then as you continue to turn it and water it, then the water will start absorbing into the fiber. You want to make sure and get a good saturation. Okay, because that moisture level is very important. And do that. And then what I have here to add on top of that, the manure, horse manure, and the bucket was delivered. It's been sitting for about a month, and when it smells, when it's composted and sat, the smell. So I have been adding this to my bins, and the worms have been moving right into it, and so it's safe to use. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to wash the newspaper down, and then bring my worm out, and we're going to talk about how I handle worms once I'm through the nail. Okay, back.